It affected me thoroughly because I found that I could never take going to a Jewish congregation where women didn't have equality. Sitting in a congregation with a mechitza and a separation. To this day, I feel like I'm going in not as a participant, but someone, as an anthropologist looking at it. But the whole approach is I'm listening to ideas about, you pray to God for my answers. That God was never was never a person that I expected for intercession and so forth. But what it helped was, as I was getting older and science and other things, I didn't have to go through questioning why and have to rebel. In other words, when he changed things and talked to us, and we were raising questions, so what can you, and he said, well, Judaism isn't because we are doing the same thing our parents did. It is what are people sharing of ideas and memories. And therefore, and as we said, and there was not the obligation of having to obey all the written laws, because some of the laws were not the things that we thought were good for our guidance today. And one of the things we would always indicate was, though slaves were treated better, and at least as written in the Bible, slavery was sanctioned. And the cliche that we always had, one of the various cliches, was that the Torah and other sources of Jewish law should be guides, but not have vetoes of what we believed and what we did. And it was a liberating kind of way. It certainly made it easier when I was a teenager and was active, and then even much later in the 60s, and active in a political way and questioning and such. And it meant like Judaism could be an integral part of this Jewish American modern scene, rather than my saying, wait a minute, can I do this? Or how does this conflict with that? Because, I say it and laugh, one of the words you always got in any Reconstructionist question, it's a process that. And it used to be, we would hear the word process and go, But basically, it's the word that talks about a manner of finding answers, just as a scientific method is a process for finding. But there was an acceptance that you didn't know answers, that you went asking, looking, reading, and no one person or authority was the fount of what one was supposed to do, which was as I said, a very liberating thing that I found getting older. I remember, to use a different example, going with some friends from the synagogue to the Museum of Modern Art, and liked it so much, I took two of my classmates, and they were horrified of, that's not art. What is that? And I was smiling because there was no issue that it was supposed to be this way or that way. Was it beautiful? Was it pleasing? And this kind of being open to different ways of hearing or seeing or behaving. And the important thing was it had to, and how you behaved for other people was always the big, or and therefore how society treated its people was always the big question rather than fixed rules.